kuhusiana na masuala ya deni la taifa inakutana na Waziri wa Fedha Prof Njuguna Ndung'u katika bunge la kitaifa kuhusiana na masuala ya kudhibiti masuala ya deni katika mwaka 2024. Hebu tuvuke huko tusikie ni yapi yanayojiri.
Appropriations in aid is Kenya shillings 308.54 billion, and external repayments is 343.9 billion. And then net domestic financing is actually 377.75 billion. The third point I want to present to you, honorable members, is the highlights of the 2024 medium-term debt management strategy. And this, I want to look at it in terms of the assessment of the cost and risk characteristics of the current debt portfolio. Honorable Chair, under the current revenue-driven multi-year fiscal consolidation program, the National Treasury commits to bring down the present value of debt as a percentage of GDP from 67.2% to 55% for a period of 5 years. That was allowed by the amendment to the PFM law. And that recent amendment of PFM law has given us that space in terms of adjustment. The weighted average interest rates for the total debt portfolio was 7.7% per annum in June 2023, of which domestic debt was, or is still currently in terms of current figures, 11.4% per annum. And the weighted average interest rate of external debt increased to 4.5% in June 2024 compared to 3.9% in December 2022. The rise in interest rate in the public debt portfolio is attributed to high liquidity conditions, to tight liquidity conditions, both in domestic and international financial markets. And you are familiar with the international financial markets, they remained closed and quite prohibitive. The average time to maturity for the total portfolio declined from 8.8 years in December 2022 to 8.5 years in June 2023. On account of reduced performance of long tenor bonds and issuance of more short-term domestic debt attributable to tightness in the liquidity in the liquidity in the market, as well as the risk profile that was actually in existence. The projected debt redemption profile is characterized by large maturities in 2028, 2029, 2030 on account of Eurobond and bank syndication debts that have been accrued in the past. The fourth point I was to raise in this is actually the 2024 medium-term debt management optimal strategy. Honorable Chair and members, the 2024 medium-term debt strategy aims to optimize access to external concessional borrowing and undertake liability management to minimize cost and even refinancing risks in the debt portfolio. You are familiar with the refinancing risk, which you have just perhaps solved in the short term, not maybe a week or two ago. On a net basis, the strategy assumes a mix of 45% domestic debt and 55% external debt over the medium term. In gross borrowing terms, external and domestic debt financing accounts for 37% and 63% respectively. The fifth point I want to make is the key attributes of the 2024 medium-term debt management strategy. Honorable Chair and honorable members, in addition to the commitment on fiscal consolidation to stabilize the growth of public debt, the 2024 medium-term strategy identifies key actions to guide borrowing during the fiscal year 2024-2025 to fiscal year 2026 to 2027, which include first, use of long tenor treasury bonds. We do believe that the short tenor is actually driven by risk profile. And we do believe that once we solve the risk profile, we can actually lengthen the maturity profile of those instruments. So we want to make sure that the use of long tenor treasury bonds for financing of maturing debt and raising new deficit fund.
Mtazamaji, taarifa hiyo utakuwa upata kwa ukitu tu mwendo wa saa 7, saa 1 na saa 3.